Now time to welcome our cast from the brilliant TV series Merlin. Give a massive cheer to two of your favourite knights. Please give it up for Adetomiwa and Rupert. Wow, so good. So welcome to Glasgow, welcome to the first MCM event in Scotland. What's up, Glasgow? Right, if you'd like to ask either of them a question, just have to do as you've done before and I'll come round to you. Stick your hand up in the air, and all of a sudden the hands fly up. Right, start at the front.
Was it emotional filming the last episode?
I'm guessing that's for me, or his last episode. Great. Well, the last episode, it wasn't that emotional for me at all. I wasn't there. I guess. No, it was a little bit emotional because these guys, I got a lot of calls that week. When the guys kind of talking about, this thing finally wrapping up after it's been such a big part of our lives for years. And yeah, I felt like I was missing out on something, but what can you do?
It's a really weird thing because normally the years before you get to the end of filming and it's been a long, we've been filming for about 8 months, so everyone's finally ready to have a break. I think it was the last week people suddenly went, hang on, this is not coming back, this is it. But we also filmed out a sequence, so we had filmed the end and the various people who died, we had filmed their scenes a few minutes before the end. So the last scene was quite a simple scene. But it was a very sad day. It was a very sad last week. There was lots of parties, lots of celebrations, and that's why these events are great as well, to see how popular the show is, but also to hang out. We're all a close unit still, so it's been lovely. But some tears were shed.
Owen had a lot to say about the amount of tears that Rupert had. And I don't know if he was lying or not. He's prone to exaggeration, but he's got some stories.
And we have a question from a gentleman here.
Kind of a two-part question. Had Mrs. Merlin died, that job got chance to continue the series on, or since quickly, how would you have both like to see your characters develop? Is there any storylines that you touched on?
Wow, that's a good one.
Is that your answer? Well done. I think that... we want to say something? Okay, I think my character, in terms of the fact, it would be lovely to have carried on. I mean, no one would have watched it, it was just the adventure of Leon as it carried on. I think it would have been fun to have done a little spin-off where Leon tries to rule Camelot. Because I like the idea that he married Gwen and then Camelot collapses and it just all goes to pot. But I don't know, I think they did it quite well. It would have been nice to have had a lot more night stuff. I think the last series focused a lot more on wrapping the series up, and I think the night suffered a little bit for that, so we didn't have enough episodes for ourselves. So they were always the fun bits to do when there was a group of us together. So I think it would be nice to have seen more of that.
Yeah, I'd have loved an old-fashioned sort of questing episode. We had a couple. But as I said, with the last series and knowing that it was going to end, there was a lot of the through lines about Mordred's story, which was great. But it meant that we didn't have the same as much of the same nightly questing as we had before. And I think that was one of the most exciting things about assembling the group of knights over the end of the third series. Was that we formed a unit. We got to do kind of the old school nightly quests.
Right, and we've got a question from Cindy here.
Hi, if you were asked to go back, like for a spin-off, maybe a series,
If we were asked back for a movie or spin-off, I think you've got to be very careful because the show was always going to be 5 years, and I know there were some people who didn't like how it ended, and a lot of that is because of the emotional draw and the fact that some characters didn't make it, and I think you've got to be very careful, because the worst thing that could happen would be to come back and then not do as good a job. And or if a new actor played Merlin, or a new actor did, so it wasn't available, I think it would be a bit of a shame. So, as fun as it would be, I think it's good that we ended on a high with people emotionally connected to it. And it still has such a big following, all around the world, and people are starting to watch it again. I think it's going to be a show that doesn't just end now and slowly fade. I think it's something that isn't of a time, that will carry on being popular, I think. So it would be nice to say yes, but I think it's good to, unless the script was incredible and it was all about me.
Yeah, I agree with Rupert. I think it's hard to come back to something, especially because, like, logistically, with quite a big cast, it'd be really difficult to get everyone together again, and to find a good sort of reason to reassemble, to revisit something that we've done. And so that's one of the nice things as well. Is that, like, we spent a period together. We've made something, and it came to a conclusion while everyone still wanted to be a part of it and was still excited by it.
I have a question here from everybody.
What was your favourite film scene to film?
What was your favourite scene to film?
I quite enjoyed, I had a really fun ghost story episode in season 4. And a lot of that was very fun to film, because it's I guess it was an old-fashioned simple ghost story. So there weren't that many special effects elements, and it kind of just depended on building slow suspense, and then breaking it, And I think one of the things that worked really well, and that Jeremy did very well with the episode, was to set up the expectation of the shot, undermine it, and then bring in the shot when you weren't ready for it. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
I loved. There was a couple of favourite scene, the troll episode. I loved doing that with Richard and Head, and a lot of stuff in the Lamia episodes. There was quite a few, but I think the troll, I was still new to the show, and I was in awe of the people I was with, and it was quite a funny scene. And then meeting a very beautiful actress, but covered in disgusting makeup. So it was all fun. It was good fun.
Question for Celine?
What was your favourite moment, favourite memory filming Merlin?
So hard. There are so many great memories, and that's the thing. Little moments like falling out with Owen when we had to do a fight in the Lamia episode, and we took it a bit serious when we had the sword fight. Moments like that are hilarious. Falling off a horse, some of the silly things, the games we played. The favourite moments are probably things like the first time the whole group got together, the knights, the 5 of us, end of series 3, we're all on horses riding into the castle in France, very young folks, and there was a school party of French children who were just looking at us in awe, and we were like, no, it's really cool, isn't it? It's not really cool. It's like a unit coming in, being a knight on a horse in the castle. It doesn't get much cooler than that, except for being in Glasgow.
I was going to choose quite a similar moment. I remember the first day's filming that I really got to know the others was filming out in a place called Neath Abbey, and it was a beautiful day in these ruins, and it was quite a complex setup. So we got there very early in the morning, and then had a couple of hours on set to kill together, and it was when we started building, I guess, our off-screen relationship, which then fed into the on-screen one. And we found ourselves kind of running around like a bunch of 10-year-olds through these ruins, exploring and climbing, and generally being silly, and it was really nice. Santiago was there as well as the knights who remained, and so it was think it was moments like that where we got to bond off screen and then bring some of that to our on-screen relationships.
And a question here from the young lady.
Well, obviously apart from each other, as always. I mean, doing a scene with Colin was always amazing. He played Merlin. And I loved working with Anthony Head.
Richard Wilson is hilarious. Richard Wilson is like absolutely hilarious in real life, and you know, got a very very dry wit, and so he would always make you laugh when you least expected it. So it was always brilliant, like working with him. I really enjoyed that.
There's quite a few. It was always a fun day, unless you work with him. That was horrendous.
Owen, I mean, you know, working with Owen, there were days where you were like, dude, you know, I can't hear a word you're saying. Like, I know that you've got to do your thing, but like, just give me a cue at least.
He always eating apples and mumbling.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Food in his mouth and you could never hear what he was saying.
Okay, we have another question over to this side on your left. Right, okay.
When you started filming the first season, did you think that it was going to become as successful as it did and make 4 or 5 seasons out of it?
Well, I joined in series 2, and so I already knew that the show had been quite successful. But I don't think it had really kicked off until season 2, really. And I don't think that's all because of me, but mostly. But no, I think you knew it was going to be big. I don't think you realised quite how big it was going to be. And even now, you constantly get, I mean, the turnout here today is amazing. I'm sure there's some people here waiting for the next guy going, when will these guys finish? But it's amazing how popular it is. And, you know, I've just been away in Sri Lanka and they've just started showing it there and people stop you on the street there and you go, this is insane how big it is worldwide. So
I think I've been constantly impressed or surprised at the enthusiasm that people show. Like Rupert says, you know, like the turnout today. Whenever anybody chooses to talk about the show, it's such kind of, you know, love that it's kind of I don't know. It's overwhelming. So I don't think there was any way that we could have foreseen that. You know, there was obviously a plan to go for 5 seasons if it was possible, but it's, you know, and also the business side of things determines whether it carries on, and so your support is what allowed it to last. So thanks.
Yeah, and it got bigger and better every year, which is even better, which is hard for shows.
Back down front, we've got a question, young man.
How did you feel when you got the news that the series was cancelled?
I think there's a thing in the paper that said, oh, they've cancelled Merlin, and people were like, I can't believe they've done it. I think the reality is it was always going to be 5 years, so everyone knew it. They also were keeping it secret. You know, we would be interviewed and they'd say, how many years will there be, and we had to pretend that we thought it would go on and on. But they always knew there was a finite 5-year plan. Still, when the news came, I think we all hoped there might be more, but 5 years is a long time. And it was sad. It's like any job. It's like any, 5 years is as long as being at a school, or it's a huge amount of time, and you see more of them than your actual families and more of the cast, and it's sad. It's sad leaving behind a big part of your life. So
it's one thing to sort of to have an expectation that something's coming to an end, and another thing to, you know, for that to actually be not only confirmed but then become a reality. And you know, I think it didn't hit until quite near the end that it really was over, or was going to be over. Yes.
Question, please, over the front.
How long did it take to learn horse racing?
Rupert was a natural. Rupert sat on a horse. Rupert had this amazing Rupert had great relationships with his horses. It's like they fell in love with him. It's quite extraordinary, and I'm not even joking. And so they looked after him really, really well. And I think, that's a lot of horse riding, is getting on with the horse. And he smashed that.
Yeah, it's really weird. I did, like, the first few years I was terrified, the first year, and then I kind of got my own horse in Wales, my own horse in France, and when we were filming, and just developed a bond. And if I've been to France for a few weeks, I get back and the Welsh horse would look at me as if to go, I can't believe you've been on another horse. And she was, the Welsh horse is a funny story that some people probably know. I was riding in the season 5, and she was just being a bit naughty in terms of I trying to move her to the left and she would go, no, we're going to the right and go around in circles. Just being a bit difficult in a funny way. Then one day the guy phoned me, the horse trainer phoned me and said, we went to the field this morning to pick her up and she's had a baby. And no one knew that she's not a baby, sorry, a foal. That would be really weird. They had a foal and no one knew that she was pregnant. So I've been riding a pregnant horse and wondering why she was being a bit like moody. Turned out like. But it meant at the end of the series I wasn't allowed to ride her again.
Question for young lady here?
What was the training like for like all the sword fights and stuff like that?
I think we probably both did quite a lot of sword fighting training at a drama school. And then when it came to filming, it was mainly about trying to work out what would suit the camera and the location that we were in. And then it was just working out a choreography that we liked. I mean, that was one of the things. We had some great flight directors, and they were very, very keen to make sure that the stuff that we did was stuff that felt good to us, so that it would look better on the screen. And so it varied massively. Like there were some scenes. What was it? There's a massive fight scene at the beginning battle of series 5, and that was rehearsed for a couple of days because it was huge. There was lots of cameras, and it relied on quite complex. It relied on different bits of choreography linking up as the camera moved. So that took a while, but most of the time it would be, we'd have, I don't know, half an hour to work it out, practice it, and then we'd wait for the lighting guys to set up the lights, and then we'd go.
It would really depend. We had different stunt guys, and there'd be times where you would literally, they'd go, oh, we're doing this fight now, and you go, well, we haven't done anything, so I'll just put it together. So luckily we could do a basic thing and learn how to make it look good. And then when there's a trust there, it's fine. There are certain people, we won't mention names, but who would be a bit terrifying to fight. You're kind of close the eyes and you'd be like, that's quite risky. But by the end, everyone was really good. And when you fought stunt guys, they were brilliant, because they didn't mind getting hurt.
But I mean, in order for those things to look real, there has to be a little element of danger, because then everyone's kind of senses are really, on edge, and then it translates better. It's more vibrant on screen. So we didn't like to over-rehearse.
Okay, we've got time for one final quick question for this young lady here.
I would have magic powers.
Yay!
I think it is outrageous that Merlin was almost the only one with any serious magic. You know what I mean? Every now and again, you have magical characters coming in, but I felt like Camelot deserved, some more magic on its side. Why did all the bad guys get to come and throw people around? I got bored of being on the end of that. You'd be trying to take someone down, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, would be a blast of energy, and you'd be flying through the forest. And I think, what about me? Eliab would definitely have been open to some, necromancy.
I love that idea. I would also. We say it all the time. I think it'd just be more battling and all that. I think you needed more battles all the time, and more nights, more of us on screen than it would have been. We'll still be running now.
So ladies and gentlemen, please give me a massive round of applause to our Merlin and Rupert.